Mm. I'm just taking a break real quick while I'm editing some of these films. And I am eating yogurt. I'm drinking coffee also, but I'm eating yogurt. There's not a whole lot around like yogurt, is there? It's creamy, smooth, a little bit sour. You can mix just about anything with it. In this case, I have honey mixed in with this. So the other day I was talking to a friend of mine, and I mentioned to him that I make my own yogurt. And I explained to him that essentially yogurt is fermented milk. And so I thought, well, maybe next time I make yogurt, I'll go ahead and film it and put it on the website. After all, Delta Brewing Company has everything to do with fermentation. And beer, wine, and whiskey, of course, are not the only things that deal with fermentation process. Now, there's nothing fancy about this video. There's no script, no teleprompter. I simply set up a camera, a light, plugged the microphone in, and I winged it. And I made some mistakes. It's a little bit funky, but I think it gets the message across. And, well, you can be the judge of that. Go ahead and take a look. You'll see what I mean. Okay, so now we need to learn how to make yogurt. Yogurt's very, very simple, you guys. You actually don't make it, it makes itself. It is fermented milk, very simply. It's fermented with certain types of bacteria that turn it into that sort of semi-solid mass that you're so used to. Now, what I have here is a yogurt maker. And you can buy these, I assume, online. And this is a West Bend fresh yogurt maker. Now, believe me when I tell you, this doesn't make the yogurt. You make the yogurt. What this is a heater that keeps your fermenting milk to approximately 80 degrees, which is what you want. Over the next 4, 6, even 8 hours, you will get yogurt. And if you let it sit longer, it'll get more and more solid, by the way, and it will separate more and more whey. And that's going to be up to you on how you want to handle that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull out the insert. This is a 1 quart insert. It's plastic. And we are going to fill it with milk, and we're going to put it into a double boiler. Now, you don't have to use a double boiler if you don't want, but if you don't use a double boiler, you need to keep that fire on as low as you can possibly get it. It's very, very important not to burn the milk, okay? So, we, on the other hand, are going to use the double boiler. I'm going to turn on some fire and get that rolling in there. Now, what we're going to do at this point is we're going to fill up this small container with milk. Sorry, I keep passing in front of the camera. We're going to run it to about there. Then we're going to heat it. We're going to heat it in the double boiler. And we're going to bring it up to just under boiling and really under 200 degrees, maybe 180 degrees. And I recommend that you obviously use a thermometer. It's important that you be able to keep track of the temperature that you're going to use. Okay, so we are going to stick that thermometer right here. Going to hang it in there. Actually, I'm going to hang it on the other side so I can read it. This has centigrade and Fahrenheit on it. I'm going to put the milk in here, and I'm going to go ahead and let it heat. In the meantime, I'm going to put the lid back on this. I'm going to stick it in the preheater, and I'm going to set it aside for the time being. I'm going to raise that up so it's not sitting on the bottom. Okay, we're going to let that heat up. Once it's heated, then we will cool it down to approximately 100 degrees or less, and we'll put a starter in it. We'll let it sit. We'll put it in the preheater. We'll let it sit for a good 8 hours, and we'll have yogurt. It's that simple. So, until that's heated up, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, I'm back. It's been about 25 minutes. We are right at 180 degrees. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to pull my nice warm thermometer out of here, rinse it off a little bit, and set it aside. Now, what we have is the massive milk, and it does have a scum on top of it. Go ahead and remove the scum. We will use a nice wooden spoon to remove that scum with. Just kind of twirl it in there. And there it is. Now, the next thing you need to do is we need to cool the yogurt down. We need to cool it down to pitching temperature. That is where you're going to pitch a starter. And that starter is going to be your favorite yogurt from the store, whatever it may be. But it will be plain yogurt, and make sure you check the label, make sure that it is active, make sure it has active enzymes. All right, we are going to put the thermometer back in. Now, you can let this sit if you'd like. You can let it sit until it cools down, but there's an easier way to cool it down. And that is to use another vessel, and this is an aluminum beer mug. Thank you, Deschutes. And it's filled with ice. We can simply, it's been cleaned by the way, we can simply stick this in here, move it around, and let that cool the milk down. In the meantime, you're going to pull your favorite yogurt, hopefully it's in the refrigerator, and I won't tell you what this is because I don't want anybody calling me and saying, hey, quit using my yogurt to make your own. However, it is plain yogurt. You can probably recognize this anyway, right? You're going to use about a tablespoon of this plain yogurt as a starter. Now, once this milk is back down to under 100 degrees, you'll be able to pitch it with the yogurt. And we'll set that right there where you can't see what it is. Okay, we now have the milk down to about 90 degrees, and what we're going to do is we are going to pull our thermometer one more time. We're going to pull our insert, which I have been storing in the refrigerator to keep it cold as well. And we're going to, as carefully as possible, pour this back in, which in itself will help cool it. Now, here comes the realistic part. Now we're going to take about a tablespoon of plain active yogurt. And we are going to stir that into our mass. And you can use more if you like. In this case, I'm going to use about a tablespoon and a half. Now, if you don't have a yogurt maker, a heater, as it were, All you need to do is get it into a container, get it covered, and get it into an area where it can stay warm. But what we're going to do is we are going to put the lid on this, going to open up our Magic Yogurt Maker, or Fresh Yogurt Maker by West Bend. And by the way, this was given to me by my mother-in-law. Thank you, Patsy, because I use this quite a bit. We are going to insert this, put the lid on it, and we're going to plug it in. And it's going to sit for approximately anywhere from 6 to 12 hours. The amount of time you let it sit is going to be up to you. It's going to depend on the consistency you want of your yogurt. It will get thicker and thicker and thicker as it goes along toward a 12-hour period. So if you want a thinner, more creamy yogurt, you need to start checking it at about 4 hours. Now right now it is, I don't know what time it is, 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, by the way, it's July 4th, and I don't know if you can hear it or not, but my neighbors are partying like crazy, which is fine because that's what we all do, isn't it? That's why we brew beer. That's why we make yogurt. Okay, 7 o'clock now. I will check this about midnight and check on its consistency, see if it's ready to pull. So until then, we're just going to sit and wait. See ya. All right, I'm back, and just to let you know, I've already filmed this once, and I got halfway through, and, I forget to turn the cameras on, of course. So there's a lot of other things going on. Anyway, here's what has happened. It is not 8 hours later. In fact, it is 24 hours later. As you recall, I put the yogurt in the heater at about 7 o'clock last night. I actually got up at 3 o'clock in the morning, took it out, put it in the refrigerator because it was finished. Now, what we have is we have a canister full of yogurt. It appears to be slightly liquid, and that's because there is whey that has separated itself on top of it. Now, before I realized that I hadn't turned the cameras on, I went ahead and took a short video of this from the top using my cell phone so you can see that liquid. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to go ahead and pour the yogurt out into this bowl and take a look at it. Come on, Yogi. Now, don't worry too much if it appears to be slightly cheesy, slightly lumpy. You can always take a whisk and smooth it down. The longer you let it ferment, the lumpier it's going to be because it's going to separate more and more whey. If you want it nice and smooth and really creamy, I'm going to suggest 4 to 6 hours as opposed to 6 to 8 hours or even 12 hours. So, let's check it out, shall we? Let's see what we've got. Let's give it a taste test. See how that tastes. It tastes like yogurt to me. And it's very, very mild. This is not very sour. And a lot of people like sour yogurt. So when you get your yogurt at the store to use as your starter, you want to make sure you get one that you prefer. If you like it more sour, make sure you pick up the yogurt that tastes like that has those particular enzymes in it, as opposed to, let's say you like Greek yogurt, which is smoother, softer. You want to get one of those to start. So what you've wound up doing is you've come up with a quart of yogurt instead of 4 ounces for about $1.25, as opposed to the dollar or a little bit more for just that little 4-ounce cup that you normally buy. Okay, so once that's done, cap it off, put it in a container of some sort, put it in the refrigerator, you have yogurt. And remember, you can smooth it out by either using a whisk, or you can even use beaters on it, although I don't recommend whipping it up too much. But you have yogurt for a fraction of the cost, and it was very simple to make. So it's a very simple process. Heat it on the stove until it's approximately 180 to 200 degrees. Cool it down to 100 degrees or less. Pitch your starter into it. Put it in a warm place, hopefully around 80 degrees, but it can be cooler. It can be 60 or 70 degrees. It'll just take longer to ferment. Let it ferment. Make sure you cover it so things don't fall in it and ants climb into it or whatever bugs might like yogurt. I don't know. And wait. You'll have yogurt anywhere from 6 to 12 hours depending on the heat that you've got. Put it in the refrigerator when you're done. That will stop the enzymatic activity. That'll stop the fermentation. Okay? So, until next time, simply, that's how you make yogurt, guys. All right? We'll see you later. Mm.